So speaking of our sponsor, Monster Energy Drink, I'm going to try live here on the podcast Monster Hydro Mean Green flavor.
Oh shit!
Whoa. It is their...
This is a momentous occasion.
It is their like Gatorade equivalent, and it's always sounded interesting, but like $4, and I don't think I want to risk a monster water for $4. But Dollar Tree had a bunch of them for $1, and I'd buy that for $1.
How mean and how green is it?
It's yellow and not very mean. So
it's like a gentle yellow.
It smells like something specific. Like it smells like lemon lime, but a specific lemon lime.
It smells like something specific is somehow not a specific sentence. It's somehow incredibly vague.
I'm trying to place it. Like it smells.
Hold it up to the microphone.
Okay, what does this smell like, guys?
I'll smell it for you. Oh, it smells like microphone. It smells like it smells like
weird.
These pizza combos I'm eating.
I love pizza combos.
They're so good.
I am going to enjoy a lovely drink of water brought to you by our newest sponsor, water. That's good water.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we talk about Star Wars.
Apparently, for 42 minutes, Jesus Christ! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I made a mistake. Regrets.
Well, the real mistake
I have a few.
The real mistake you made was being a good friend and not only asking about a topic, but being willing to listen to the person talking about the topic. So really, it's your own fault.
Yeah. I only have myself to blame here.
when we were like, oh, it's a big question, you're like, oh, I just wanted you to say the special effects sucked. If you have a big answer, I don't give a shit about your opinion. Should have just shut us down.
Well, yeah, exactly. You should have been more of an asshole. Anyway.
Anywho.
That's definitely my fault.
Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren, and I have regrets.
And I'm Maddy Grace Spiffle Webbin, and I have no regrets.
No regrets.
And today we will be talking about Chapter 5 of DanganRonpa, Trigger Happy Havoc. And before we get to all of that, how was everybody's week? Don't say anything about Star Wars. I don't have it in me.
What
I don't have it in me. I can't do it. Yeah. The War of the Stars.
Star Wars?
Star Wars? I don't get it.
It's a pretty obscure, like, indie sci-fi film from the late 70s. You probably haven't heard of it.
Yeah. It's real,
this episode coming to you from the alternate universe where Star Wars A New Hope was only a little bit wasn't very popular. Anyway.
I don't think I did anything this week. Except I have a car now and I can go out and do stuff. Oh, I bought a Vita. That's what I did. Bought a Vita. I have a video game machine and I can play the games.
Yeah, Eli bought a Vita because that opens up 3 entire consoles worth of games for us to be able to play on the podcast, but also because his computer hates emulating PSX games, so he needed a way to play them, and it was easier to buy a Vita.
Bad time with fucking Xenogears.
So it was easier to just buy a Vita than do all of that. And why does he need to play a PSX game? Because we're playing Chrono Cross next.
Hooray!
It is official. I am like 4 episodes behind in all of the voting. So sorry for all of you people here on today that still hear episodes and think they can vote, because you can't, because we're playing Chrono Cross. So we'll start that. We'll be starting that in August sometime, probably the second week of August, because it lines up nicely that way, and I gotta move. So yeah, I don't care about anybody else's week, really. We just talked for 45 fucking minutes about Star Wars.
I don't know if I can give a shit either. Also, I didn't do anything interesting this week, so.
Only thing I did is I played a lot of Witcher 3 with Summer, and it's really good. Like, worth all of the hype. Because, like, you know, a lot of really like popular things that are super hyped, like Star Wars, are sometimes they don't live up to all of that hype. But they sometimes don't live up to that hype, or like you see the hype and you're like, I see why everyone enjoyed this, but like it's just flashy and new. It's not actually great. The Witcher 3, I think, is actually great, which sucks because a lot of people like died in the making of that game because
I've heard
crunch.
That.
But
what the fuck?
Witcher 3 is not the kind of game that I really like. And I would have just easily dismissed it as the thing that everyone thinks is great and then later realized it sucked ass. But now it's a few years later, and everyone still talks about it like it's an all-time goddamn masterpiece. So I'm kind of annoyed about that because I have to like care.
Yeah, it's kind of an all-time goddamn masterpiece, and I kind of wasn't prepared for it. Like, we finished, there aren't chapters in the game, but we finished approximately chapter 2, and like we kind of were just like, well shit. What the fuck do we do now? And like we had a good 4 hours we could have kept playing, but we just had to like take a break because it was a whole lot and it was really good. And that doesn't happen very often in like television for me, much less in a video game.
I know that feel though. You're like, this is so good that I need to stop engaging with it for a little bit while I calm the fuck down. That's a really fun feeling to have.
Yeah. So it's good. It's a little indie game by a small Polish developer. You probably haven't heard of it. You should check it out.
I bought Witcher 3 when it was on sale, and I still haven't played it.
Yeah, I highly recommend playing it on the story difficulty, because its combat system is kind of janky and was the main thing I was bouncing off of. But now that I can just show up to a place and hammer square and take down all of the things and just live in the story, it's like the Disco Elysium version of Witcher 3, and that's good.
Well,
actually,
as our listeners know, I notoriously hate games, so that's probably for the best.
Yeah. But, that's real good. Otherwise, let's just listen to some of the music. I think there's some Clash Trial music I haven't used yet, so we'll listen to something.
Music, right?
There's an amazing new investigation track this week.
There's a new investigation track?
Yeah, when you investigate Witcher 5, it's got new, more badass music.
It's got the same leitmotif as the investigation track original, but it's like boppier and rappier.
Nice.
And
I'll have to.
I can't come up with good music words right now.
Put that one in. It fucking rules.
Cool. I'll have to get you guys to help me know it because it was on mute when I was going through it today.
I have the entire soundtrack on Spoofy, so I will figure out which one it is after we get done with this.
Hell yeah.
Perfect. Anyhow, when last we left our heroes.
Yeah, so when last we left our heroes, we had just learned a big surprise. This isn't actually a recap because the episode recaps itself. We have just learned about a new character named Mukuro Ikusaba. According to Kyoko, they are the 16th student, the ultimate despair. The game does something interesting here right at the beginning. Makoto is saying this stuff to us as the narrator, and he says, that was 3 days before ... the next incident. 3 days before the worst thing so far would reveal itself. At this point, again, this hasn't happened before. They just straight up give us a flash forward to the murder. So we're just starting the chapter, and we're already seeing the murder that's going to happen. The murder is an unknown person in some sort of white cloak with like a lucha mask on their head, stabbed through the gut with a big fucking knife. So that's what's going to happen in 3 days. So now it is chapter 5, 100-mile dash, pain of a junk food junkie. This makes no sense, by the way. I don't know what it is or what it means. Who cares? So
it has nothing to do with fucking Hina, who is like on, like she's the junk food junkie. So
I think it might just be there to. I think maybe it's just there to throw us off. Who even knows? But anyway, buckle up, because this chapter, you know how the previous 4 chapters were like you mostly learn about the murder and there's a little bit of an overarching plot? Well, now the plot is happening. Let's just put it that way. So pay the fuck attention. So, the morning after Sakura's trial, we're all at the dining hall. As expected, Byakuya is here now. He is still a jerk, but he's like invested in the group's activities and their goal of defeating the mastermind. But of course, he thinks now he's their leader. Lol. Toko has this whole thing in this whole chapter where she doesn't talk because Byakuya said that she can't talk without permission, so they have that kind of relationship now. So we all head out to investigate. It's like a, what do you call it? It's like a full, I think you'd call it like a full-time, like, dom-sub relationship, which is, it's very upsetting. Anyway, we all go out to investigate. He gives her permission to open her mouth so that she can eat. So on the 4th floor, on the 4th floor, the data lab and headmaster's room are still locked. Now there's a 5th floor? Damn, this bitch tall. There's like, the 5th floor is weird. There's like trees everywhere. It's like a combination building and courtyard. Makoto says it has an unpleasant feeling, which I didn't feel like it did, but okay. We have a conversation with Toko. She tries to tell us something, but can't speak because Byakuya ordered her not to. Hina, never mind, he doesn't have anything interesting to say. We go into classroom 5C and are very surprised. For the first time in the entire damn game, a classroom actually has something important in it. Instead of being like every other classroom, it is in total ruin, and it smells terrible. There's blood on the walls. It smells like corpses. Byakuya says the smell is, quote, condensed, like the smell of a battlefield. There's also like dozens of chalk outlines on the floor. Monokuma shows up, and we blame him for whatever atrocity happened here. He says, actually, nope, I have no idea what happened here. I left it the way I found it. Byakuya says the bloodstains must be pretty old. Down a very dramatic, harsh hallway is the biolab. It's locked. Next, we go to a room that is a dojo?
I just remembered. Talking about that classroom. So I mentioned this last week, Eli, but because we were talking about how the blood is pink in this game, but in that room, for some reason, the blood is red. And because of that, I was like, oh my God, are we like clones or robots or ghosts or something? Like, what is going on? Why is this blood red? And Maddy was just like, because they wanted it to look different so that you pay attention. So the blood was red. That's it. This game is wild enough as it is. Choice. Don't overthink it.
Or maybe even like they forgot, because like the later games, I'm pretty sure don't ever do that. It's like all pink blood in later games. So maybe it was just an oversight. Who even fucking knows? But yeah, don't read into it. There's enough stuff to read into in this chapter. So there's another room that is a dojo. Kyoko's here, but she won't talk to us because of the secret that we need to keep secret. This is a beautiful room. It's like cherry blossoms and stuff.
My favorite room in the whole game.
It's really cool. So we go to so now there's a garden. There's literally a greenhouse with a painted sky on the ceiling. Maybe there's like sun lamps. Anyway, the plants are like enormous and terrifying. There's literally a giant, like we're talking giant, bigger than anything you've ever seen in real life, like Venus flytrap style flower, the size of a goddamn truck. Monokuma says, "Be careful, I named that the Monokuma flower. The ultimate botanist engineered it, but they died during the tragedy. It'll eat ya." Also, as an aside, Hiro thinks that one day the plants are going to take over the world. Also, there's a control panel for sprinklers. They go off every morning at 7:30, and Monokuma says, "Don't tamper with it." Also, it's locked, so you can't tamper with it. There's also, in the garden, a little tool shed with various tools. Gasoline can, shears, backhoe, shovel, lawnmower, pickaxe? The pickaxe says Crazy Diamond on its shaft, which is weird. If you don't remember what that means, I'll explain it later. There's a chicken coop with chickens. Not gonna lie, this place slaps now. Like, I'd be very chill with living here for the rest of my life at this point. They got fresh eggs. This is a good place, okay? Anyway, they're in the good place. Anyway, there's 5 chickens, which Hiro says is a good omen. Okay, Hiro. Back in the dining hall, Hina says she noticed something weird at the layout of the school. Or rather, she noticed that the 5th floor has no stairs going up. It's the end. Here we have the second of many hints that the game will lay on that we are approaching the climax, and that the 5th chapter is the final one. The number 5 appears in many, many, many places throughout this chapter, hammering home that this is the 5th chapter, and I think trying to give us the impression that there are 5 chapters, and that this is the end of the game. Fortunately, we had to spoil that there's in fact 6 chapters because we needed people to be aware of like our schedule of the podcast and stuff like that. Sorry. Also, there's 5 people in the group besides Makoto. So anyway, Byakuya gives Toko permission to speak, and she found a huge fucking knife. They all decide to give the giant fucking knife to Makoto because they trust him. Byakuya praises Toko for doing a good job finding it, and she gets real horny. We share about the Crazy Diamond pickaxe, and we remember that was what was on Mondo's jacket. That's weird.
And we also got an item called Crazy Diamond after the Mondo storyline.
Yes, that's right. Anyway, we discussed the weird murder room. Byakuya posits that perhaps, quote, the tragedy was like a huge mass murder at Haute Peak Academy that happened a year ago. Byakuya continues saying that he's in charge, and we need to solve a different mystery first. Kyoko's identity. What? That's right. She never told us her ultimate ability. Byakuya says, how can we trust someone who won't even reveal their true identity? She says, I can't, because I don't remember. What? Turns out Kyoko has had amnesia this entire time. She's been the amnesiac protagonist. She just wasn't making a big fucking deal about it.
When I grow up, I'm going to have so much amnesia.
Byakuya...
That's my Futurama quote of the day.
Byakuya and maybe others don't believe her. And Byakuya says, we can't let you continue to be suspicious. Either tell me or give me your room key. Everyone's like, that's really dangerous. You can't just do that. Why are we letting him get away with this? We don't know. She just goes along with it. I don't really get why, but in this chapter and last chapter, Kyoko pretty much always goes along with Byakuya being shitty to her and others. What's her long game, we wonder? She gives him her key and leaves. Makoto realizes that this is just like last chapter with everyone distrusting Kyoko like they did Sakura, and it sucks ass. Anyway, now Monokuma is here. He says he's angry. There's a thief in your midst. He says, quote, my precious was stolen. We don't know what this is or who stole it. He leaves. Byakuya rightly intuits that it was probably Kyoko who stole something from Monokuma, because, she's always being mysterious. Nighttime announcement. Everyone says we'll discuss this more tomorrow. Byakuya says something is in the air. Everyone be careful tonight. That's the first day. In his room.
They can feel it coming in the air tonight. Okay, sorry. I'm done making dumb jokes for now.
No, you're not, and it's fine. In his room, Makoto remembers that he still has that huge knife. He puts it in his desk drawer. He also worries about Kyoko not being in her room and wonders, isn't there something I can do? I'm thinking you should ask her to just stay in your room. It's fine. I want to come back to the point that if this had happened in real life, there'd be a lot more fucking. It always bugs me about these games. I'm just saying, if you were locked in a room with 15 other people your age, and you're attracted to 50% or perhaps 100% of them based on your sexual orientation, theoretically attracted to them, I'm just saying people would be getting down like left and right. And there's no consequences because your life is over anyway. Whatever. But he is a good little boy and does not even consider even asking her just as a friend to hang out in his room. So even though that would be very nice to do. He falls asleep on accident, but is awoken by the doorbell. Of course, it's Kyoko. She curtly, in her way, says, "Come to the dressing room." Dressing room, midnight. We realize we're in the room with no surveillance cameras and ask her, "Did you steal from Monokuma?" She did. Whoa! She stole a cool Monokuma-shaped key. She's so cool. Even cooler, she stole it from the headmaster's room. That's right, she went into the headmaster's room. And then it's about to get even more cool. The lock was broken. Sakura broke the lock at some point, knowing that she was gonna die. That's fucking awesome. I love Sakura.
Yeah, she's great.
Sakura is the best.
Even from beyond the grave, she's really helping us. Just to be clear, it's okay that Kyoko broke into the room because the lock was broken. The rule says you can't break a lock. Didn't say you can't go into a door with a broken lock. So that's what the distraction was last week. When we went to the data center, we were just being a decoy for Monokuma. She went to the headmaster's office and she found the key. Finally, after 4 chapters of every chapter them saying, well, we looked for clues to help us get out of this jam and we found literally Zippo, we finally have a fucking break. Turns out this is when she found out about Mukuro Ikusaba. Mukuro is, quote, dangerous and probably the mastermind. When Alter Ego said the headmaster was the mastermind, she was just wrong. Actually, Kyoko has no proof, but feels that she's right. We say, she says, now that we've finally gotten our chance, we can't let it go. She doesn't know what the door key opens and needs us to be a decoy again. We say, it's super dangerous. What if there's more than one person behind this and they can monitor us both at once? Kyoko says, the fact that we didn't get caught last time is very crucial. Perhaps the mastermind can't control Monokuma and monitor us at once, which is why she needs to run the experiment again. Whether or not we get caught is just as valuable of data as the stuff that we might discover, so it's win-win. Another important point, Makoto still says it's way too dangerous. Kyoko says, Rule 4 says we can explore the school freely with minimal restrictions. The lock on the headmaster's room is broken. We're not breaking any rules. Makoto says the headmaster could just fucking kill all of us if he wants. And here's where we get to the point where this is a very, very important piece of information going forward for the plot. Kyoko says, this is something we need to discover. In a moment of crisis, will the mastermind break their own rules or adhere to them no matter what? So basically, the thing that she wants to do is going to teach them a lot of valuable info, not just about Hope Peak Academy, but about the mastermind himself and the way that this whole thing works, whether they succeed or fail. She says, if you spend all your time trying to avoid danger, you'll never move forward. At this point, Makoto realizes the shocking truth. Kyoko is a badass. She gives us an envelope. She says, only open this if something happens to me. I wonder if something's going to happen to her. We step out into the main dormitory room and yell, hey, Monokuma, get over here. I've got a bone to pick with you, you fucking asshole. He takes the bait easily, and because Makoto and Kyoko were in the bathhouse together, he immediately starts being an enormous pervert. Makoto taunts him. He says, unlike you, I'm not a Monokuma says, unlike you teens, I'm not a perv. That's why there's no cameras in the bathroom. Makoto says, isn't it just because if there were cameras, they get fogged up? So Monokuma gets totally owned. We ask Monokuma, what was the precious item that got stolen? He gets so mad at us for being obnoxious that he just goes ahead and tells us. He's like, fine, fucking I'll tell you, who gives a shit. It was a key and a asterisk, 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 asterisk. Asterisk, one more. That's it. So he said a key, and then literally the text box is just 6 asterisks. We're like, what was the second thing again? And he's like, it's a blank. It's a secret. Fill it in your damn self.
It was a
Exactly. Obviously, everyone knows it was a.
It was a
He's so annoyed that we dragged him out here in the middle of the night for this stupid question and leaves. Well, our job is complete. So we go back to bed, hoping Kyoko is okay. We go back to bed, and we see an ad for another Spike Chunsoft game. It looks pretty good. Also, before the ad shows up, Monokuma literally is like, we haven't mentioned this, but every night Monokuma gives a little presentation, and it's always stupid and annoying. I think it's probably stupid and annoying on purpose because Monokuma is stupid and annoying. It's usually him musing on some dumb philosophical concept, but like in a very simplistic and immature way. Sometimes there's jokes. Anyway, this time around though, he's like, "Hey, check out this cool new game by Spike Chunsoft. I think the game looks pretty good." Me and Eli were very shocked to get this ad. In
the original game. In the original game, the Monokuma Theater is like, hey, this Monokuma Theater is brought to you by Spike Chunsoft. Then they want to show you this video for a game, and so then like a fake cinematic trailer starring Sakura carrying a big ass like hammer goes to fight like Attack on Titan style Monokuma, and it's like super epic. And right before she like jumps up to attack it, it cuts and is like, "Hey, this is a game we really want to play, but Spike Chunsoft is a really small developer, so you should tell all of your friends to play DanganRonpa, and maybe one day we'll make this game." And they replaced it with an actual ad for an actual game on the
it was
iOS version,
weird.
which is great.
Yeah, and this is, for the record, just so we're clear, this is not an ad-supported game. It's not like we're seeing ads all the time. This is the only time this happens. It's very weird and very funny.
Yes.
Anyway, so that was day 2. Third day, morning.
It's called Katakana or Katana Kami, something like that. I don't know why I said Katakana. Yeah, I think it's Katana Kami is the name of the game.
I guess it must have come out very recently because remember, this iOS game we're playing came out like in April. So I don't know. Yeah, I might check it out, I might check it out, frankly. Anyway, in the morning, Kyoko isn't there. So we haven't seen her since we split up to go do the ruse last night. Monokuma shows up, and he doesn't know where Kyoko is either, which is wild. She must have used the key to sneak into some unknown part of the school that even the mastermind can't see. So now shit is really popping. We get free time. I hang out with Hiro because he's fun, and I like him now. He says the stuff that we already talked about. I think he rules. Who'd y'all hang out with?
I hung out with Hiro's final one, and then I hung out with Toko for her first one.
Nice.
I think I hung out with Toko some.
Anyway, after 2 hangouts...
Oh, and Hina, I hung out with her.
Oh, cool, yeah. Love Hina. Anyway, Makoto...
Love Hina, the manga from 1990.
Yes. Anyway, throughout the day, Makoto keeps mentioning how he's starting to get kind of like getting chills and feeling a little bit shitty. By the end of the day, after hanging out with people, he's like, I think I'm fucking sick. Which, actually, I think me, Maddy Grace, a homosexual, is also maybe fucking sick. We'll find out. Hopefully it's not coronavirus. Man, anytime you even feel a little bit sick now, you're like worried, right? Anyway,
right?
Probably not coronavirus. I'm probably fine. Anyway, he rests in his bed and passes the fuck out super early. He's in that half sleep zone for a while and has a strange half dream. He wanders through the school and hears himself. Himself says, I understand everything. My goal isn't to get out of here. My goal is to stay here. This is all for hope. I have to stay here. For the record, anytime I say quote, I'm probably actually paraphrasing. But he says basically, that's probably a literal direct quote, except I probably cut a sentence out for being too long. He opens his eyes and, fuck! Someone is standing over him with a knife. It's the person we saw in the preview, the masked, robed figure.
It's Colonel Mustard.
It's Colonel Mustard. He's got in Makoto's room with the knife. The lights go out. A bunch of noises. The lights come back up. Now Kyoko is standing over us silently. What the fuck? We pass out. When we wake up, we feel better. Whatever the bug we caused seems to have passed, but we are drenched in sweat and uneasy because of the bizarre dream. Makoto remembers back and wonders whether he'd fought off the assailant. He says his mind seems so detached from his body he has no idea what happened. Also, the part where he, quote, woke up, maybe it was also a dream. We open the desk drawer. The knife is gone. Oh no, that means the assailant wasn't a dream. We are very confused. We go to the dining hall. Okay, shit's about to get even more poppin'. Only Hina is there? She says, "Oh, thank goodness it's you. You didn't show up for dinner, so we went to go get you, and even DanganRonpa on your door, but you didn't answer. We thought you'd been, gosh." Makoto's like, "No, I was just sick. Why'd y'all think I was in danger? Did something happen?" And she's like, "Okay, yes, a lot of stuff has happened. So much stuff. You should just come with me and join the rest of the group." So you go and join the rest of the group in the gym. Apparently they stayed up all night and had sent Hina to the kitchen to go get them breakfast. So we go to the gym. Everyone's like, "Phew, it's Makoto." They've all formed a circle around something. This something is the remains of a Monokuma doll. They're totally dismantling. When I say doll, I mean the thing that we've been talking to, a robot. They're dismantling it. Hiro explains, before everyone went to bed last night, Byakuya went to the gym to talk to Monokuma. But when he found him, he was just an immobile toy. He was an immobile suit Gundam. Even after nighttime began, it remained motionless. So they started disassembling it. They found out it's super advanced. Like, whom the fuck has the time to make something like this? As they took it apart, they couldn't find any sort of problem with it, which caused it to not function. So they suspect perhaps something is going on with the mastermind, and the mastermind can't control it. Hiro found a fucking bomb. Yeah, he's like, "Hey, what's this?" Byakuya says, he's like, "Hey guys, what does a tampon look like?" And they explain it, and he's like, "Oh, so this is probably a fucking bomb." Anyway, Byakuya says, that's a community reference, sorry. Byakuya says, "Yeah, there's probably one in every robot. We should probably, like, put it down." They tell Makoto if the mastermind is really gone or busy, then now's their chance. Their next action is to go break into the headmaster's office as a group. They all say that this is their big chance and give JRPG pre-final boss speeches about believing in themselves. We dramatically approach the door, and it's locked? Now, this is weird to us, but the others don't realize that it's weird because they didn't know it had been unlocked. So we're going to tear the door off of its hinges. They say that, but then they say we're going to break through it with a pickaxe, so whatever. Toko rushes up to the 5th floor to go get the big pickaxe. Then she's back in like 5 seconds, but is Genocide Jill now. She didn't know she was supposed to get the pickaxe, so she doesn't have the pickaxe. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, hey, BT dubs," I found a corpse in the garden. So, what the fuck? We realized that before we do the thing we were going to do and go save the day and be big damn heroes and bring this game to its conclusion, we should probably go see what's going on with the corpse. It's just what we saw in the foreshadowing. A mysterious figure. They're wearing a lucha mask. They seem to be wearing a white trench coat, but it might be backwards or something. Like, it looks like the jacket's covering the torso because they're wearing it backwards. Also, one sleeve is pulled back, showing a slender hand. I originally wrote feminine hand, then realized, I shouldn't be heteronormative in such a way, but I will say it is a female hand, so whatever. It is stabbed through the gut with a big knife. And to himself, as the narrator, Makoto confirms that yes, this is the same figure who appeared before him last night. One strange thing right away is that there's no body discovery announcement. I mean, we did discover a body, and there's like 5 of us here. Oh, right, Monokuma seems to be busy. So we're just all on our own here. Byakuya confirms there's no pulse, and the blood is still wet. Hina mentions that the shape of the body, particularly the chest area, makes it seem like it's a girl. Also, I would suggest the slender feminine arm. Again, we're being cisnormative here. Toko is like, "Why is everyone standing around? Let's just tear off the mask and see who it is." So she goes to do that, and it blows up. The whole body explodes, and then the body catches on fire. They grab a bucket of water and throw it on the fire, successfully quenching it. But now the body is burned to a crisp. We can't tell who it is. Someone has been murdered, but we don't know who. The most obvious answer is that it's Kyoko, but what if it's the mastermind? I mean, if the mastermind were dead, that would explain the Monokuma not functioning. Makoto realizes that if this body is a girl and is the mastermind, then that means the mastermind is not the headmaster, who is a middle-aged man. Makoto shared with the group about Mukuro Ikusaba, the ultimate despair. So now we're just like, is the bad guy dead? What the fuck is going on? Everything is completely off the rails at this point. Suddenly everyone realized, oh, is Toko okay? She kind of got exploded. It turns out she's fine. So now we start investigating, I guess? There's no official investigation start, it's just, I guess. Right off the bat, we find a weird fucking key next to the body. It's not the key from before. There's a lot of keys in this chapter. The key is like super technological looking. Byakuya says maybe this will open up some kind of locked room. Makoto, go check it out. There's like 5 places we're supposed to check, but I got it on my second try. Turns out it opens the door to the 3rd floor, or actually 4th floor, data center. We go back and tell the others to go investigate. All right, so we get to the data center. Data center is not the right word here. This is a surveillance room, like you have in like a casino or something like that. It's got monitors for every school, in every room in the school. This is clearly where the mastermind has been hanging out the entire game to surveil us. Holy moly. Byakuya says this clearly means that the dead body is the mastermind because they had this key and haven't been seen. The mastermind is dead? Is it over? Did Kyoko kill the mastermind? Hiro says, let's get the fuck out of here. But Byakuya says, no, we really need to investigate and make sure that we understand what the hell is going on. Then we can leave. Also, the murder. Hiro decides to be useful and finds a TV antenna, like the OG kind. They're all starved to learn about the world outside, so they hook up the TV. This is going to be their first contact with the world outside since the game has begun. Also, there's a bunch of really fancy PCs, but they're locked. There's a door in the back with a picture of Monokuma. I'm assuming that's where you control Monokuma, which confirms what Kyoko was saying earlier about maybe you can't control Monokuma and do surveillance at the same time. You got to go through this little door, right? Anyway, the door's locked. Hiro has fixed the TV. We tune in to the TV waves, and it's us. We are on the screen. We're like, you dummy, that's just the direct surveillance feed again. Hiro says, no, this isn't the camera feed, I swear, this is a TV signal. He goes through all the channels. We're on every channel. Alright, an absolutely incredible scene happens. I'm going to try and give the gist of how this scene goes. We keep flipping the channel. Hina asks, is it broken? Hiro says, no, it's not. There must be some kind of trick, some weird setup. Monokuma says, a trick? What kind of trick? Hiro says, I'm not sure, man, but Toko says, huh? Monokuma says, huh? Hina says, what? Monokuma says, what? Hiro says, what? Monokuma says, been a while, you friggin' bastards. So Monokuma is alive, and he's in the room now. I found this scene to be extremely hilarious, but also dramatic.
It's so good.
We knew that there were multiple Monokumas from the start because, like, one of them fucking blows Junko up, and then another appears. So, like, the fact that they thought that dismantling that one Monokuma would do anything...
No. They thought that the mastermind was gone because he couldn't control the Monokumas.
That's true.
That was the point. They also, remember, at this point, they think he may have literally been murdered. Turns out they're wrong. Question mark? Who knows? All we know is somehow Monokuma's back. Maybe he's literally in... Like, he could literally... If my hypothesis is true, and for the record, I don't remember. This isn't a spoiler. If that door that has a picture of Monokuma on it is where you control Monokuma, that means the mastermind is on the other side of a door right now, which kind of rules. They could just break through the door, but then again, Monokuma has lots of claws, so maybe it wouldn't work. Anyway, yeah, he's back. He says, the look on your face is fucking priceless. He also says, are y'all so dead set on getting out of here? Come on, life isn't so bad. There's gonna be bad stuff anywhere you live, you know? He says, I'm gonna let you in on a secret that's key to your life here. This killing game is being broadcast live to the entire world. It's the most popular thing on TV. He says, everything I've done so far, all the hints I've dropped, and yes, even dropping that key and luring you into this room was all on purpose. I'm just trying to make good entertainment here. Hiro says, surely someone would have come to try and rescue us. Monokuma says, what if they already did? And then he changes the subject. Monokuma says, oh wait, hold on. We've been forgetting something. Ding dong, bing bong. body discovery announcement plays. He's like, oh yeah, here's the Monokuma file. You got to do the murder. Byakuya says, I guess the culprit is Kyoko. There's a lot of stuff I got to figure out. Says Byakuya, let's go. So now we thought things had changed. We've just had a bunch of bombshells plot-wise. But now we have to investigate a murder for real this time. Some new music plays that you heard earlier, the new investigation music, and it fucking rules. So yeah, go through this goddamn investigation. Good. It's actually pretty quick. So there's a couple of very important scenes. The first scene is that Byakuya asks us for our alibi. He says, where were you last night? He says, I came to the garden last night looking for Hiro, and there was no body there. Hold on, I'm going to check what the time is. Oh, we're making good time. We're only at 35 minutes. There was no body there. So the murder could have only happened in the middle of the night after he left the garden. Everyone else was in the gym all night, and they all have alibis. And if the victim is Kyoko, then there's only one person without one. They all even came to our room, but we didn't answer. We say, no, we were sick. Heck, we realize that's not a very good alibi. So right now, Kyoko seems to be the one who's dead, and we're the only person without an alibi. Although anyone paying attention at all at this point realizes that that body is clearly not Kyoko. Anyway, we suddenly remember the letter. So we open... Wait, hold on. Why did I say... I am slightly out of order here. My bad. Give me a second. Sorry. We figure if the victim is Kyoko, we really need to learn more about her. Luckily, Byakuya still has her key. He doesn't trust us to go alone, so he accompanies us to investigate her room. I probably could have figured that part out on my own. I didn't have to find it in my notes. So we get to her room, and there's really nothing particular going... Oh, wait, no, there is something there. I guess I didn't write it down. I'm such a ding-dong. Sam, what is, like, the book... Or Eli, what's, like, the book or something that is, like, on the desk in Kyoko's room?
It's not a book. That's a key for the locker.
The key. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
I just did it.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, we're good. Sorry, we find a key. I'll go over it later when we get to the evidence. My bad. Anyway, so we find a weird looking key in her room, but more important. But that's it. But then we realize, we have that letter. Clearly, something has happened to Kyoko. So let's open the letter. The letter just says, "Under the sheets." So we check under her bed sheets. We find something, a piece of paper, torn out of the student registry. It's the profile of Mukuro Fukusaba. Turns out, she's not the ultimate despair, she's the ultimate soldier. She's small, but can kill the fuck out of anyone at any time. One day, on vacation in Europe, she disappears. It makes international news that she's never found. But then she just randomly reappeared in Japan 3 years later. Apparently, she'd absconded of her own free will, and fought with a mercenary group called Fenrir. What the fuck? Byakuya recognizes the name Fenrir. He's like, oh yeah, they're a bunch of insane psycho mercenaries. They're pretty useful though. We get the sense that his family has probably done dealings with Fenrir before. Yeah, they hired him to like murder Jeffrey Epstein or something. So Monokuma shows up. He's like, ugh, I'm so pissed at Kyoko for stealing this. But he does clarify that he thinks of the rules of this killing game are sacred and won't punish anyone if they haven't broken the rule. He also says, this is kind of weird, but he says, the person who writes all the rules is one of the participants in the game. Then he just goes ahead and drops that there were, in fact, 16 students all along. We just thought there were only 15. Then he says, hey, I want to get revenge on Kyoko for stealing from me, so I'm going to reveal a secret that she didn't want y'all to know. You know those cool gloves she wears all the time? It's to cover up that her hands are hideously deformed by awful scars. Now, right away we realize that even though he's trying to get back at Kyoko, he's given us an extremely important thing. So, Monokuma, you're stupid. Okay, so now to go over the evidence real fast. There's not a whole lot, which is very intentional. So first of all, Monokuma file. Due to the explosion, the victim's identity is unknown. However, they were dead before the blast. The victim had been stabbed a single time with a knife, which went all the way through the body. They'd also been struck in the head with an object about the thickness of a metal pipe. The body was covered in other wounds, but they were at least several days old. In the garden, there are fragments near the dead body. a device of some kind. We'll find out in a second. It's a bomb. On the body, the slender hand that is exposed has very, very long fake nails and red. Tattoo. It's a tattoo of like a dog or something on the right hand. Astute viewers will remember that Fenrir is a Norse god who is a wolf. Exploded body analysis. The whole body is torn to shreds, but only the top half caught on fire, so that's where Makoto threw the water, so the top half of the body is wet. The bottom half of the body is dry. Sprinklers. We remember that their sprinklers turn on every morning at 7:30 a.m. Implication. Chackens. There's only 4 chackens now. Knife. There's an enormous goddamn knife, which Makoto realizes is the same one from last night and the one he'd been keeping. Makoto realizes, when they attacked me last night, I was in a weird trance. Maybe I... ... Heck! Body before the explosion. We talked with Hina, and we both remember how the body looked before. It was, again, covered in covered in a coat and a mask, stabbed through the gut with blood everywhere. Hina mentioned something interesting. There was no blood on the ground. When the body was found, we and Hiro remember that the body was found right around 9 a.m. Just a few more clues. Tool shed. There's a There's a tarp that wasn't here before. The top is wet and covered in mud. The bottom is completely clean and dry. We go to the gym. We look at the bomb. Oh shit, that's the same bomb as the fragments we mentioned earlier. The explosion was obviously created by one of those Monokuma-style bombs. How would the killer acquire such a thing? Then there's a few testimonies. First of all, Byakuya tells us everyone has an alibi except us. Actually, no, that's the only testimony. Sorry. In Kyoko's room, as I mentioned before, is good lord, yet another, this is the third of, I will spoil, 4 mysterious keys this chapter. It's an old-timey woodblock key, which Byakuya says might make sense in the dojo. We go to the dojo, and sure enough, the key opens an old-timey wooden door, inside of which is a bunch of titanium arrows. Metal rods. Also, bloody duct tape. Just what it sounds like, a bunch of duct tape covered in blood, wadded up in the locker. Finally, the archive. We haven't been here in ages, but Byakuya says we should investigate Fenrir. We learn a lot about Fenrir, but frankly, it's not very important. The only important thing is that all members of Fenrir get a tattoo. So, anyway, we ponder the implications. So that's it. Monokuma says time for the trial. We feel like we're not ready. There's so many unanswered questions, but it's time anyway. We hang out in the waiting room, but Monokuma isn't here. He makes us wait 10 minutes. Then he finally shows up and we're like, WTF, why'd you make us wait? And he says, I didn't make you wait. The whole group isn't here yet. Maybe I should punish someone who didn't show up. Then Kyoko says, here I am. Everyone is shocked, but this show needs to get on the road, so they all go in the elevator. We stay behind for a second to talk to Kyoko, who, remember, we all thought was dead until 5 seconds ago, obviously, and also, like, there's the thing where, like, Hiro thinks she's a ghost, whatever. Kyoko says, sorry, I was investigating the second floor of the dorm using a special tool I took from Monokuma that can open any door. So that's the 4th key of the game. She goes, I didn't even know this, because remember, she hasn't been seen since last night. She's been gone the entire time. So she goes, I was investigating the second floor of the dorm, using a special key. I didn't even know there'd been a murder until, as I was coming back, I heard the class trial announcement. But I went and investigated really quick, which is why I'm late. So yeah, in like 10 minutes, she investigated the entire thing. She says something weird. She says, quote, this will be the most crucial moment yet for me. We wonder what that means. We descend. Just 6. Same as last time, to be fair. Class trial number 5. Baby. So, Byakuya says, let's start with the victim. Whom the fuck is it? Even though Kyoko is right there, we still have to prove that the corpse isn't somehow also Kyoko. This is very easy. We bring up the gloves. We say the corpse had those long-ass fake nails, which you can't have those if you have gloves. Also, why would someone self-conscious about their hands? Because remember, Kyoko had terrible burns on her hands. Why would someone self-conscious about their hands wear nails? Which this person doesn't know what body dysphoria is, but whatever. Anyway, who is the victim? Who is the victim? The tattoo we share about Mukuro Ikusaba and Fenrir. Once again, we explain it. Everyone understands. Monokuma butts in and confirms, yep, the trial is in fact regarding the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba, 16 students. So now, the cards are finally on the table, mostly. There was a 16th student all along. They never showed up. And then as soon as they did show up, they immediately fucking died. So now we're investigating the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba. We're all very confused, because we thought Mukuro was the mastermind. I mean, she's the ultimate despair. Byakuya says, no, the file called her the ultimate soldier. The only one who said she's the ultimate despair was Kyoko, who was wrong? Mukuro wasn't the mastermind all along, just another student. Kyoko says, I was not wrong. First of all, I'm fucking Kyoko. Before they fight, though, Monokuma says, hey, get back to the trial, you jerks. He ultra, mega confirms there are exactly 16 students. 16 participants in the game. There is not a 17th student. The victim was Mukuro, and the culprit is a student. Byakuya jumps in again and says, there's only 2 possible culprits. We confirm. Yeah, man, it's either me or Kyoko. Byakuya confirms the others' alibis. At this point, actually not at this point, never mind. We say, first let's try and figure out the time of death. It's important. Hiro says it was between 10 p.m. or 9 a.m. Makoto says, I don't have an alibi for most of them, but I did meet with Hina around 7:30 a.m. We argue. We say the murder couldn't have happened until after 7:30 a.m. because of the sprinklers. The sprinklers go off at 7:30 a.m. every morning, and the lower half of the body was dry. Therefore, it didn't get soaked by the sprinklers at 7:30. Since I have an alibi from that time going forward, it wasn't me. This convinces everyone. But that means, was it really Kyoko? All eyes turn to her. She says, I just gotta say one thing. If I die here, the mystery of this school will stay forever hidden, and I am not gonna let that happen. She says, I didn't do it. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us. Byakuya says, you did have a motive to kill her. You thought she was the mastermind, even though she wasn't. Huh? Yeah?
This was what I made a note to talk about.
Yeah.
Because when she said that, I immediately thought, she's saying this because she actually is the killer. And, she's... My first thought was, she's saying that she actually is the killer. She's confessing to it. Because she says, if you vote for me and I'm killed. But then later realized what she meant after, because she says it's a trap, but it doesn't occur to me that the mastermind is going to go against their own policy
it
of
doesn't make any
only
sense.
Killing. Yeah.
Yeah, this, in case you're curious, this is basically a 2-part chapter. Chapter 6 will answer the questions raised in Chapter 5. But yeah, so much shit that happens in this chapter does not make sense. First of all, it's weird. You're right though, Eli. You picked up on one thing. I picked up on it. Didn't pick up on what you said, but I picked up on it a little bit differently. I was like, wait. She says, if you pick me and I die here, the mystery of the school will be forever hidden. But if she is the killer, then if we pick her and she dies, then sure, but that's better than if we don't pick her, which will result in all of us dying. So she should have said, if you pick me, you're all gonna die. But if she's not the killer, then she should just say, if she's not the killer, she should say, if you pick me, everyone's gonna die, right? So it just doesn't make sense. Why would we care about the mystery of the school being hidden when the point is whether we're all gonna die or not? But yeah, so it doesn't make sense from any perspective. Maybe Coco knows something we don't. Of course she does. She always fucking does. Anyway, Byakuya says that she thought it was the mastermind, even though it wasn't. I think that's really cool. I thought that's where it was going. I was like, oh, it's going to be another tragic death, right? Where she thought she was being a hero, but turned out she wasn't. So at this point, Kyoko turned it around on us. Kyoko says it was Makoto all along. Kyoko, you bitch! She says your explanation is insufficient. There was a big tarp in the shed that was wet and dirty on one side. All you'd have to do is cover the body with the tarp, then it wouldn't have gotten wet. So this is where the chapter really takes a turn. It's not an investigation. It's not a complicated mystery. It becomes a battle between us and Kyoko. We're trying to convince everyone Kyoko did it. She's trying to convince everyone we did it, and it's just going to go back and forth against Kyoko of all people. So we fight back. We say, what if the other side? If the other side of the tarp was clean, that doesn't make sense. The blood on the body was still wet. The tarp would have been bloody. But Kyoko turns it back on us. She says, what if the blood was camouflaged? What if the blood didn't belong to the victim and wasn't even from the murder? They could easily have used blood packets from the nurse office, but no, actually it was Chakin blood from the Chak. Perhaps the killer had to get blood from the Chakin because they couldn't be seen leaving the room. But Byakuya says if you covered the body in blood, there'd be blood on the ground. Kyoko says this settles it. The murder took place before the sprinklers went off. The body didn't get wet because of the tarp. Later, the killer removed the tarp and put the bloody coat, which had been pre-prepared, over the body, all to disguise the time of the murder. Kyoko says the killer would only have needed a second to remove the tarp and pull over the coat. Hina says there was a bit of a gap with me and Makoto where we were together, so Makoto could have run up and done it. It would only take him like 1 minute. Why, Kyoko? Why? Hina remembers that we had the big knife, and me, the player, Maddy Grace Webben, a homosexual, remembers that it was Kyoko who said that we should keep the knife. Why, Kyoko? Why? We prove that getting stabbed isn't what killed her. Because if all that cover-up happened, then the coat was put on the body after the death, but the knife was stabbed through the coat. Therefore, the knife was just another piece of camouflage, and both the exploding body were meant to cover up what actually killed her. So now everyone is like, well, never mind. It was Kyoko. She covered it up to frame Makoto. But we're like, we still need to determine what actually killed. Here's the thing. Every time everyone's like, oh, it was Kyoko after all, we're like, wait. We don't want them to think it's us, but we also don't want them to think it's Kyoko. That's also bad. But also, what else is there? So we're like, we still need to determine what actually killed the victim. We say it had to be the blow to the back of the head. The other wounds on the body weren't fresh. So the murder weapon was the titanium arrow. Except that would be too thin, so this is silly, but we show how the killer took all 10 arrows and bundled them up with duct tape to make a thick pipe, which is why it was all bloody. Here's the thing. We found that bloody tape in the locker. Here's where it gets good as shit. Byakuya says only Kyoko could have stashed the evidence in the dojo. He says we, Makoto, have evidence. We're a little trepidatious. We know what will happen if we show this evidence. We know it'll implicate Kyoko beyond any reasonable doubt. But we show it. We say it was in Kyoko's room, and she's shot. Everyone says, let's vote for Kyoko. We say, hold up. Surely we don't intend to... What did I just say? Oh, surely we, meaning the Makoto. I keep saying we as us, the players, because I guess it's multiple players. Surely Makoto doesn't intend to protect the obvious culprit, but we say we need to ask her something. Kyoko, we say, why were you in our room? She says, I was protecting you. We put it together at this point. The masked figure tried to kill us, but she killed the masked figure to save us. Kyoko says, please, I didn't do it. Byakuya, you know why. So she turns it around again. We talk about how Kyoko couldn't get into her own room, so how could she have left the key in there? She gave her key to Byakuya, so how could she have left the dojo key in her room? There's no way she could have done it, but also we couldn't have done it, so what the fuck? So here we arrive at the moment of truth. Makoto realizes there's a contradiction in what she just said. What's the contradiction? Well, he actually doesn't say this to us, the audience, but after thinking about it for a second, I was able to realize what was going on. Kyoko just told us she has a special tool that can open any key in the school. She very, very clearly could have done it. But we think this isn't like her. Why would the Kyoko we know lie in such a nasty, desperate way? Makoto remembers what she said earlier. If you vote for me and I die here, the mystery of the school will stay hidden forever. And then we remember when she said, this is a trap the mastermind has laid for us. Makoto battles within himself. How is he supposed to know what to do? How is anybody, anytime, supposed to know what to do? He's the only one who knows Kyoko has lied. Only he can expose it. But who can he trust? He remembers Kyoko's words about charging into danger. Makoto... Yeah, at this point, we get, for the first time in the entire game, an actual choice the player has to make. You get 3 options. 1, tell everyone about the key. Tell everyone that Kyoko is lying, which she has never lied before in the entire game, also. Or stay silent. Don't reveal that she's lying. Or the third option says run away. Not sure what that means. I picked what I knew to be the correct one. Also, I think the first time I played the game, I also did, because I just saw where the game was going. But I'm very curious, Eli, you picked the other ones. Eli, what happens here?
Yeah, so this is another but thou mustn't.
Yeah.
It was very interesting, because I was like, I know what the correct option is, but I want to see what happens.
Of course, I'm glad you did.
So I picked to expose Kyoko's lie. So Makoto goes into, like, no, she's lying. This is why. And he explains. And then Monokuma says, all right, well, I'm bored of this. Let's vote. And so everybody votes on Kyoko. Because we've made a compelling argument for the fact that she was lying. We went into all the details about the key and everything. And so we watch Kyoko go through the death sequence, where she's sitting at a desk that's slowly moving backwards toward, like, it's like a big smashy thing. Like, have you ever seen The Brave Little Toaster?
Yeah, like the Junkyard Smasher.
Yeah, exactly. I fucking love that movie.
Me too.
But yeah, it's like it's a big smashy thing, and so, like, she's slowly going backward toward this big smashy thing while she's sitting at a desk being taught a lesson by Monokuma, and looking increasingly more afraid as time goes on. And of course, she gets smushed, so afterwards, everybody's just kind of questioning, like, was that the right thing to do? Like, was she actually guilty? Like, they don't honestly know. Makoto has serious doubts. But then it goes into this thing where it's like, after this, no more murders happened at the school, and we just lived here forever. And then so I took a screenshot of this, and actually I'll let me send it in the Discord. 1 second.
I think I realize now, I think I actually did get this bad ending the first time I played the game, now that you're explaining it.
I know that I did, because the whole game you're like sussing out the truth. And so
even if it's painful, you gotta do it. So it's like, she must have done it, even though she's our friend. We got to do it.
And so it's like there's no more murders at the school from then on. And then there's a picture of them in the future, and it's Hina in the center holding 2 babies and having and she has a little, like, probably 8-year-old kid beside her. A baby and a toddler. The baby looks like Yasuhiro.
Oh my God.
He's got, like, the big fucking dreads sticking out of his head. The toddler looks like Makoto and is wearing the exact same outfit as Makoto, who's standing beside her to her right on the left side of the picture. The little, like, 7 or 8-year-old kid beside her looks like Byakuya. Kiro is on her left, the right side of the picture. Byakuya is on the far left side of the picture, and is holding a photograph of Toko that looks like a photo that would have been taken for her funeral. So there weren't any more murders, but Toko's no longer around. And Makoto is going into, we just did everything that we could to survive, and blah, 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 and everything was great from then on. But no, like, this isn't right. And so it was like, it wasn't actually what happened in the future. It was like his mind going to it was like Steven Universe Future Vision. It was him, like, witnessing what would potentially happen if he were to question Kyoko about the key and get her killed, because it doesn't actually happen. As soon as that sequence ends, he's like, no, this is wrong, and you have to choose to just go along with what Kyoko has said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which, it's fun. Good. Like, the whole game has been driving home a certain point, but the thing is, the character who taught you that lesson, the character who taught you that you always got to pursue the truth, no matter how painful it might be, is Kyoko. And now it's basically like, are you going to honor the lesson Kyoko taught you? Or are you going to trust in your friendship with Kyoko that this time you actually need to trust her and ignore what she taught you? Like, ignore the theme of the game thus far, and the actual more important theme of is that friendship will save the day. And since this is an anime, we realize, friendship is going to win out over any other theme that is going on in this game. So anyway, after a, I think, incredibly tense and interesting decision that the player has to make, Makoto decides to believe in Kyoko. She would not kill someone. She would not betray them. There must be something else. In the critical moment, with all eyes on him, Makoto just stays silent. The moment passes, and time resumes its normal speed. Byakuya says, fuck, it checks out. Kyoko couldn't have put her key there. He could have entered her room, but he had an alibi for the entire thing. Or he could have entered her room, but he had an alibi for the whole thing. The only thing that could have happened is that someone entered the room and then, pretended to, oh, hey, I just found the key. He points at Makoto. Wait, but what? No, what? Makoto is seemingly shocked that his action of not blaming Kyoko, who's the only other suspect besides him, would put him back under fire. Who could have foreseen this? He starts to object. No, there's something else, something weird is going on with this fucking case. But it's voting time. Monokuma says he's bored of this trial and has decided to end it. No more debate, no more chances. Time to vote. So they vote. They vote for Makoto. We holler, everyone's got it wrong. I didn't kill anybody. But then we get an even bigger surprise. Monokuma says, good job, everyone. You figured out the killer. What? But we didn't. He's the main character. There's no way a game would somehow have us be the main character, and yet the main character also did a murder and we don't know about it. Yet again, it's time for punishment.
It's not like they kill off a main character in a game, Chrono Trigger.
And yet again, it's time for the punishment. We plead with Kyoko. She says this is all my fault and I don't expect you to forgive me. Punishment time. I didn't mean to say that like Monokuma. I was just excited, but I guess I did. Eli already explained it better than me. Makoto sitting in a classroom on a conveyor belt. Behind him is a giant fucking hammer. I wrote hammer Shazmer thing. Shazmer.
Shazmer?
S-H-A-S-M-E-R. Shazmer. Oh, Smasher is probably the word there. But normally when you make a typo, you transpose two letters. But I somehow transposed the M, which is the second letter, into being the fifth letter. The Shazmer.
It's Shazmer.
Oh, and I got rid of the second H entirely. Okay, whatever. Past that is a seemingly bottomless pit. He is borne back ceaselessly toward his doom. The shazming gets louder and louder in his ears. He closes his eyes for the final moment. Suddenly, the video screen placed all around, showing Monokuma's vile visage, blip out for a second, and are replaced with, it's our hero, everyone's favorite daughter, Chihiro, or rather Chihiro's daughter, everyone's favorite granddaughter, alter ego. This brief intrusion is enough to pause the dastardly machine. It seizes up, and the conveyor passes us safely underneath it. We haven't been smashed or shazmed, but we do fall down into the fathomless depths. Up top, everyone is stunned. They all saw what happened, much as Monokuma would have preferred they didn't. He's furious. What the fuck was that? Did Alter Ego put a virus in my system? What the hell? Kyoko gives an anime speech and says, Monokuma, you miscalculated. You underestimated us. You underestimated the power of friendship. She doesn't actually say that. It's implied. Monokuma says, you haven't won. The virus is gone now, and Makoto's either dead or trapped at the bottom of a fucking trash pit. Who gives a shit? He mutters about despair and leaves. Byakuya demands to know what the absolute hell is going on. Kyoko says, with a smirk, the mastermind is now the one ensnared in a trap. So, what of Makoto? We got 3 more pages here, folks. I'm sorry. It's just that this plot stuff is like, I need to read every single thing that happens. Makoto, actually it's 2.5 pages. Makoto dreams about the happy times at the start of the game, back when he was first light of Hope's Peak. He wakes up to find himself in, a deep garbage pit. For a moment, it seems that despair will claim him. The stench of it is unbearable, and hope seems out of reach. But no, everyone's dear friend, the princess of our hearts, the ultimate coding Tran, sacrificed herself to save him, so like hell is he just going to roll over. But after unsuccessfully trying to find a way out, or food, or water, he's really not very good at this. He realizes he's all out of ideas. But he does say, as long as I'm alive, I'll never give up. He figures, I might as well save my strength and go to sleep. We, the player, think, what? Do you think hope is just going to fall right out of the sky? Fall right out of the sky. Meanwhile, a bag of trash says, I'm falling right out of the sky. And it falls, it lands on your head. We reach for it, and Kyoko pops out with a cup noodle on her head. She's come to save us. Bread and water she's brought. Kyoko apologizes. She knew that we knew she was lying, and yet she let us get punished. She did it to save her own skin, but she does say she has a reason she had to survive no matter the cost. We ask her what it was. She says she'll tell us everything. She had to survive to do the things she came to this school to do. That's right, she's not just some student. She came to Hope's Academy for one very important reason. She'd forgotten what it was for a while, but now she remembers. She reminds us of when we fainted on our first day. When we all woke up, we were all dizzy and confused, but she had something worse than that. She felt a crucial part of her was gone. Her memory had been altered, presumably by the mastermind, presumably because whatever she forgot was a threat, which is why she had to get memories back. She couldn't tell anyone. The mastermind would have noticed them working together to get her memories back, or heck, the mastermind could still be among them. She intuited Makoto was least likely to be the mastermind, probably because he's a nice schmuck, which is why she chose him from the start as her confidant. I like how she chose him as her friend for the same reason that Sayaka chooses him as her stooge. Anyway, she says even though she trusts him, she's never been good at asking for help the right way, and she apologizes. She has remembered her purpose and her ability. Turns out, Kyoko is, wait for this, she's the ultimate detective? Yeah, that's not remotely surprising. Like, it's the least surprising twist of the entire game.
Yes.
Anyway, but also she came to the school because the headmaster is her father, and she's been separated from him since birth or from childhood, and wanted to find her father, the headmaster. She says she wasn't lying when she said the headmaster wasn't the mastermind, or the headmaster was mastermind. It's what she thought when she investigated his room. When she investigated his room, it was totally ransacked, as if someone who didn't know shit had been there looking for something. She suspected the mastermind had done that, and she found a map showing the second floor of the dorms had private rooms for staff use. So she goes to the second floor of the dorms to see if the mastermind has a special room there. When she got there, this is all her telling us what happened before. When she got there, she realized there were no cameras or monitors. We ask, what was it like? She says, it's hard to describe, but all I can say is whatever is going on in the school is more horrific than we ever imagined. She can't explain, but she says we'll get our chance to see for ourselves soon. She confirms, just in case, she didn't kill Mukuro, and she knows that we didn't either. She thinks the mastermind was involved. She says the entire point of the class trial was to get rid of me. She says I was causing too much trouble, but not technically breaking rules, and the mastermind wouldn't break their own rules. So they set up this elaborate scheme to try and get rid of Kyoko as the murderer. We ponder the fact that the mastermind themselves is bound by the school's rules. Kyoko says the victim could have been Makoto easily, not Mukuro. She says at the time that at night she saw a white shadow and gave chase. It went into our room, and she saw the killer trying to kill us and intervened. But she didn't kill the masked assailant, but they sure ended up dead, so someone else killed Mukuro, but is also the mastermind. But wait, say we, the player, and also Makoto, the mastermind can just kill whoever they want. They were just going to kill me, but I thought they couldn't break the rules. But also, how come they needed to use a class trial to kill you, but were fine just killing me? Also, if they can't break the rules, how come they just ran a sham trial? Kyoko says, yeah, it all seems very contradictory. What it means is the mastermind is clearly backed into a corner. Just give me a little bit more time, and I'll be able to figure this all out. I'll be able to figure out the identity of the ultimate despair. We say, no, Mukuro was the ultimate despair. She says, what if the ultimate despair isn't just one person? It seems the ultimate despair is whoever was responsible for the tragedy. It's like an evil group. It's our real enemy. Now I think to myself, that seems like a bit of a stretch. I'm not sure how she could have figured that out. But whatever. She's the ultimate detective. She just knows things. Anyway, that's the end.
Yep.
Thank y'all for letting me just... Oh, okay, we made good time. Damn, I knew if I didn't yell the entire time, I wasn't going to make good time. We made it through in an hour and 13 minutes. Good job, gang. So
we did it.
So that's this chapter. A whole lot of things happened. The game is, as they say, a foof. And we are in a straight shot to the end of the game. Memorable moments or thoughts or anything. What do y'all have to say about this? I'm going to rest my voice.
So the first thing I want to talk about, because we barely brought it up, but it's very crucial. The cup noodle Kyoko sprite is God's gift to everyone.
It is goddamn. It is goddamn hilarious. Me too. Because
Kyoko is incredibly serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's has her normal, incredibly super serious, like we have to solve crimes face on, and there's just a cup noodle hanging off her head. It's so good.
And it should be noted, the cup itself is upside down, but also there's like some noodles coming out. So there's also noodles on her head. Also, these are like trash noodles. It was in she was in the garbage.
It's so good.
It's super funny. And unfortunately, it only lasts for a second because you're like, hey, Kyoko, you got something on your head. And she's like, oh. And she takes it off, and we don't get to see it anymore. She should have worn it for the rest of the game.
It would have been great. But other than that, I looked up my live tweets for like I mentioned last week. And my ones that have to do with Case 5 are... what the actual fuck is going on in Case 5? I have no guesses, and I love it. And Maddy says, Case 5 is so unimaginably complicated, and there's no goddamn way you'll guess the solution. And then I said, oh my god, there's a bad ending in this game. It's such a good narrative tool. Wait, oh my god, wait, what the fuck? Oh my god, what the fuck? This is so good. I'm now at the bottom of the trash chute. And then I also said, I feel like Byakuya did it, but I have no idea. But I feel the game is always fucking with me, and Monokuma wouldn't just kill me if Byakuya actually did it.
Which is the crucial
and
point. Yeah.
Yes. And then the very next thing that I said about Danganronpa is we should play this on the podcast.
That's funny.
It was at this exact point that I was like, Eli should play this game. I want everyone to talk about this and sing this game's praises. And thankfully it's on, like at the time it was not on things where people could play it, but since I played it, it's come out on a lot more. It's been out on PS4 and mobile since then.
Yeah, thank goodness.
So yeah. It's good, but
I have really.
Other than that, I finished playing it while Maddy was talking, so I don't have anything.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been playing it earlier in the week than I normally do with these games because, again, like when I know that I have an obligation, I'm like, I'm gonna wait until the very last minute, and then I'm gonna scramble to get it done because I have ADHD and I'm a serious procrastinator, and that's just how my brain works, and it's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But I've actually, like, I've wanted to play this. Like, I got it done on Friday or Saturday and was like, ugh, I've got to wait a couple more days. And then, like, they were like, oh, let's do podcasts on a Monday. I'm like, no, I want to play more.
Sorry, Eli.
Yeah, I will say.
I do appreciate it, though.
I went and looked through what I wrote for next week, and the very next thing I say about it after we played DanganRonpa is I sent Maddy the credits, and I was like, "What the fuck was this game?" So you're going to be locked in and not even be able to text your friend about all the cool shit that you're about to be doing for the last chapter.
All 3 DanganRonpa games essentially follow the same pattern, which isn't a spoiler because in the second game they start making a big point of they're very intentionally reminding you that they're following the same pattern as the previous game in like a fourth wall breaky way. But yeah, all the games are like case 5 is the big climactic dramatic one, and after that you are off the rails and it is just a straight shot to whatever the fuck. Like chapter 6 is not going to be a normal chapter. It's just going to be nonstop plot shenanigans until the end of the game. And yeah, and that's just kind of how they all are. It's just like, all right, we're going.
Yeah, it's so good. This game has been great so far. It's like one of the best visual novels I've ever played as of this chapter. Like things started, especially because not only like this, it breaks its pattern, but like is aware that it's breaking its pattern, and it talks about it breaking its pattern enough to make you like draw big red question marks and Sharpie all over the fucking like Vita while you're playing it. Like, what the fuck is even going on? Like it's so compelling to want to keep going, and especially the fact that they didn't end the chapter when Makoto quote unquote dies like they could have. That could have been it. That would have been a good cliffhanger, and all the other stuff could have been next. But it's the fact that like they gave you that first taste of life post this class trial to make you like, well, now I gotta fucking just play the whole goddamn game. And it's good.
Speaking of which, another cool thing about this chapter is that every previous chapter has wrapped itself up entirely. But since this chapter was the way it was, I'm curious, I guess, as usual. Well, not as usual, but again, this is the situation where Eli's the only one who hasn't played the game. So I'm wondering if, Eli, you have any kind of idea or prediction about not what's going to happen, but what may have been going on there with the trial that just happened.
I have no fucking clue. I have no goddamn idea.
I'm pretty sure I had no goddamn clue when I first played the game. Of course, now I'm seeing all kinds of hints, but like...
I'm sure you are. I'm not good with foreshadowing.
Well, also, like, it's not foreshadowing because I've played it.
Yeah. Until I get to the point where I've seen the end, I foreshadowing just goes over my head. And then, like... I'm going to go back to Steven Universe. Spoiler alert for Steven Universe. Rose Quartz is pink diamond. If you didn't know that already, then you haven't watched enough Steven Universe. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So there were when that reveal came out, there were actually some people who got really upset and accused Rebecca Sugar of stealing fan theories, which is stupid because this show is produced long before the fan theories came out. But there had been all sorts of foreshadowing leading up to the point where we find out that Rose Quartz is pink diamond. I couldn't see that shit until after the reveal, at which point I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense based on these various things that we've seen. But before that point, they didn't register as foreshadowing. They just registered as, oh, well, maybe Rose Quartz is really special. Maybe, this is a Rose Quartz who went above and beyond her limits somehow. And it wasn't that she was a diamond. And it's that sort of thing where I start looking at the pieces and going, well, maybe it's this and maybe it's that. I don't know if it's like I'm not creative enough to think outside of that box or like...
I think you're just in it.
Yeah, I think that's normal. I love puzzles and I love doing puzzles and stuff, but like the MCU being planned ever since, like, once they got to the Avengers is when the plan actually started to get to Thanos. And so every single movie had a little something. And I would read these fan theories on, like, here's everything we know. Here's where all of the Infinity Gems are and all of this stuff, even though no one had said the word Infinity Gem in the movies yet. And I was like, this is like, how do you even come to this from like all the bits and scraps? And then like every single time they were always right there at the end. Like so many like fan theory stuff was always right, exact on the money. I cannot do that. I did not see where it goes coming. I did not see this case coming. I did not see Ikuro Mokusaba coming. I did not see anything coming basically after case 3. Case 3 was like, oh, okay, the wickedly evil person is probably evil, and then, oh look, I was right. And then the rest of it was all just like edge of my seat, like impossible stuff. And
I will say, the actual solution to this, one reason you can't see it coming is because it's a little stupid. But only one.
It's pretty darn stupid.
If Sam knows what I'm talking about, like the basic gist of it is awesome, but there's one thing about it that makes it even harder to guess. That's actually kind of fucking stupid. So, so it's like, oh yeah, no, you didn't get it because it's dumb. Which is, I actually kind of think that's hilarious. Sam, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay,
it's great.
I wasn't sure if you would have, if I just said like the thing that's stupid, like, is that enough, for Sam to know what I'm talking about?
Yes, it's usually not.
This theory it still counts as a theory because I don't actually know if it's true despite having played the game. I have a theory. Well, I guess this is probably pretty clear, but anyway, my theory is that first of all, that thing that Eli, you were saying, when you get the quote-unquote bad ending, it's really just in Makoto's head. I mean, I agree that is how it's presented, and is probably right, but I also do think that is a legitimate bad ending, and that is actually what happens. What would theoretically
probably
have happened.
Yeah.
And here's why I think that's very interesting.
Poor Hina.
Yeah, well, first of all, you might notice there's 2 girls and 3 guys and 3 kids. So
and one of the girls is dead apparently, because all they're doing is like Byakuya is just holding a picture of her with some black and white ribbons on it. So
hopefully, for Hina's sake, I hope that Toko at least bore one of those 3 children.
Yes.
But anyway, no. But the important thing about that scene is the implication that if they had picked Makoto, Monokuma also would have killed Makoto and said that Makoto did it. Or sorry, if we had picked Kyoko, that Monokuma would have said that Kyoko did it, right? So it's like,
exactly.
And that's the key, that it's all bullshit, right? Like if Kyoko had, and that's what I think makes it so good. It's like, no, we know for a goddamn fact that we didn't do it, because how could we have done it? We've been playing the game.
Either way, it was a fucking sham.
Either way, it was
a sham trial.
Yeah, and we know that. We don't know how it's a sham trial, but we know that it is. And yet,
this whole damn system's out of I can't remember the line now.
What do you say? Out of. Damn it! Now I don't even remember what you're supposed to say there. But anyway, yeah, and that's funny because the whole chapter, they're like, the whole thing is that the mastermind can't break their own rules, and he never ever does, except here, which seems like a pretty major instance of breaking your own rules. RMHO. So, yeah, it's wild, and I don't even remember all the details of how this resolves. So we will find out.
Yeah, I remember the. I remember the ending. I do not remember how we get there at all. I remember all of the plot stuff, but none of the shoe leather.
Well, I think the next thing that happens is we're in the trash compactor, and it starts to close, and there's a snake, and we call Alter Ego, and we're like, Alter Ego, you got to stop the trash compactor. And she's like, I'm trying. And then it finally stops as we're about to get smushed, and then we're screaming because we're so excited that we didn't get crushed in the trash compactor. And then Alter Ego is like, oh no, they're dying, I failed. Sorry, that's a reference to a really obscure movie that y'all probably haven't seen. It's called Star Wars. It came out in 1970 something. I don't even remember it. It's just too obscure of a film.
Out of order. Out of order.
That's it.
The whole damn system's out of order.
It's a shame that George Lucas never made another movie. It's too bad.
Damn shame.
So anyway,
just imagine what he could have done with like CG.
Gosh, if he'd really gotten his imagination, let his imagination fly, I bet those movies would have been amazing. Anyway, I don't have any memorable moments. I didn't bother taking any. I was just too busy taking notes and being engrossed. Any other things that want to get mentioned? That was a dumb sentence.
Yeah, but I think that's it.
Wow, Eli, you're laughing at my stupid sentence. I see.
I think
the statement of that was a dumb sentence.
I've had a lot of dumb sentences this week.
I think that Eli just wants us to stop talking so he can play DanganRonpa Trigger Happy Havoc.
That's fair. I think you mean, Eli, what's it called?
Dragon Humper.
Dragon Humper.
I was saving it for next week.
I know, but it's so funny. How about you come up with another one for next week? Hold on. Dragon Humper something horny havoc. Anyway, we'll think of another pun next week. Don't worry.
So
I'm glad you liked Dragon Humper, though.
I accidentally made the weirdest porn ever when I was thinking of what it'd be. So it's Dragon Humper, Tigger's Horny Havoc.
Oh no!
Oh no! The weirdest crossover slash fic of all time.
Wonderful thing about Tiggers. Tiggers are wonderful things.
The wonderful thing about Tiggers is like it's like Ridge. That's it.
We need to end this podcast.
We're done. We need to stop. We need to stop doing this. We're gonna go to jail for being stupid. At least I am. Anyway, Sam, you should.
God, I can't wait until your kids listen to this podcast, Sam.
I want to do a plug. So do all the ending stuff, and then let me make a plug at whenever the moment is to do that.
Okay, so I was going to do the plug now. I was going to do everyone follow Maddy on Twitch because she is twitching and it's not from the caffeine.
Uncontrollably.
I'm twitching uncontrollably. I want to give a quick thanks. I did my first Twitch stream, my first real Twitch stream that was like a big deal and not just like me saying "fuck it, I'm playing Mario today." I actually made posts about it and stuff and asked people to watch, and I couldn't believe how successful it was. By low standards, but I had 4 people watching who were my friends who I told to watch it. Wait, hold on. Actually, was it 4 or was it just 3? 1, 2, 3. Yeah. 4 people were watching because they were my friends and I asked them to. 1 person was my friend, but I hadn't asked them to watch. They just saw my tweet about it, and she was there the entire time. And then 1 person who is a follower of mine on Twitter, but I don't know her, watched for a little while. And then 2 people I don't fucking know at all. It's just that one of my friends retweeted my post and they tuned in and they stayed for the entire time. So I had 3 people with no relation to me and no friendly obligation to watch who watched and chatted. There could have been more people who watched. Actually, the viewer count was higher than that, so whatever. But more than that, it was stupendously fun. I couldn't believe how much fun we had. It's the most fun thing I've done in weeks. I started streaming. I wanted to get into streaming for 2 reasons. 1, I thought maybe I'd be good at it. And 2, I thought maybe it'd be fun and bring light to these dark COVID times. Turns out I was probably right about the first one, according to what people tell me, and extremely right about the second one. So anyway, I just want to plug my chat. I want to shout out anyone who was watching that stream. If you're listening to this, thank you so much for joining in. But also, all y'all should join in next time because seriously, it was a really, really good time. And I would love you to join the group. That's it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I'm twitch.tv/Sam Spiffle. Spiffl. The thing I say like every episode.
So I have something I want to plug too.
Oh, hooray!
Go for it.
And this is like this is not like a personal plug. This is something that happened today. So I went. I'm off my diet again because fuck it. And I'm still under 160 pounds. It's fine.
That's a good reason.
So I had to go. It's a bit of a story. So the way our mailboxes are set up, we don't have mailboxes in front of our houses because apparently that's an archaic thing. We instead have it set up like we're in a fucking apartment complex, and so we have to go to a mailbox down at a specific street, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
So dumb.
It's
Suburbia
dumb.
sucks.
It's so dumb. It's also 106 degrees outside today.
Christ.
So, so I fucking drove to the mailbox because I was like, I'm not walking there. I would die. I would actually burst into flames. And I practically did when I walked outside. So, but I also wanted snacks. And so I was like, all right, so I'll go get my PSP from the mailbox and I'll go get snacks from the convenience store because there's a little gas station that was built like right outside our subdivision. And so I went to the convenience store to get snacks, and I was looking at chocolate because I haven't had like a good chocolate bar in a while. And I was like, whatever, I'll probably just get a Snickers or something, which I love. I love Snickers. But then I noticed they had these chocolate bars called Tony's Choco Lonely. And they're gigantic chocolate bars. Let's see. 6.35 ounces of chocolate in this chocolate bar. They're fucking massive. It was like $5, and I was like, it looks like it's probably an independent kind of thing, so I'll buy one of those. It sounded interesting, and so I didn't even notice when I was looking at the packaging. This chocolate company has made a pledge to make completely slave-free chocolate. And when you open up the package, it actually talks about it. And it talks about how like the chocolate industry is built on slave labor pretty much. And there's a lot of the cocoa farms in West Africa where slaves are working right now, today. Tony's, and I looked it up on Wikipedia as well. Tony's Choco Lonely was created when this Dutch guy, and I will never be able to pronounce his name, Toon van de Keuken. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce Dutch. But he found out that none of the chocolate manufacturers in, I guess, this particular area, it says the Harkin-Engel Protocol, they weren't upholding any agreements that were made in 2001 to produce slave-free chocolate from 2005 on. And so he decided to start his own chocolate company where he was going to make slave-free chocolate. And like, he's been very adamant about making sure that that's the case. Like, even when he started making hazelnut chocolate bars, and it came to light that the hazelnuts that he was getting were farmed with slave labor in Turkey, he switched that over like immediately, and has been trying to like spread the word about making slave-free chocolate. I have never seen this chocolate bar before, and it was in a fucking convenience store. So if you really need chocolate, look for this. Yeah, everybody needs chocolate.
Sometimes you need chocolate.
Yeah. Look for Tony's Choco Lonely, made with slave-free labor. It's really fucking good chocolate. I've had a few pieces already, and it's fucking delicious. It's a little pricey, but I think the fact that it's slave free is completely worth that price. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for filling us in.
That was all I want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's while you were talking about it, because I've never heard of it, I was Googling it, and it has impeccable package design. Like, good. Okay. I just shared a picture of it in host chat if you want to see it, Maddy.
Oh, that's so good.
It's great. So buy this chocolate, don't buy other chocolate.
That is some excellent graphic design.
They apparently, where was it? I read something about the uneven. Damn it! Hold on. The chocolate bars are unevenly divided, symbolizing the unequal distribution of incomes in the chocolate industry.
Nice.
That's so cool.
If you look at the bar, it's just got like all kinds of like chips and pieces. But yeah, it's really fucking good chocolate. I got one of the milk chocolate hazelnut bars, and it's so good.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I'm going to look for it next time I'm at the store.
Yeah. I don't know if HEB carries it, but this little White Wing Market near where I live sure fucking does. So
yeah,
I'll be getting chocolate from there from now on.
Luckily, the packaging is very eye-catching, so I'm sure that if I was in a chocolate aisle, I would notice it.
Yeah. But other than that, let's wrap up this Star Wars discussion finally so we can start the episode.
We spent this entire 2 hours talking about Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that's the really big twist in this episode, is that it turns out you've been playing Star Wars the whole time.
It turns out, no, I am your father.
But for RPG Book Club, I have been Sam Allman.
I've been Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Maddy Grace at twitch.tv/spiffleweapon.
Oh my god.
Nailed it. Bye.
Toodaloo.
So,
does that help?
It's just me killing time while I put in the Zencaster note.
But does it help you figure out where things are? I'm just curious.
No, it used to, and that's why I used to do it. But now that I can take notes in Zencaster, I don't even fucking do it anymore. It's just habit at this point.
Okay.
Thank you for waiting 3 years to ask me for that thing that I've done every single time.
I just assumed that it did help because, I just assumed,
I've done it every time for 3 years. But
anyway,
I didn't want to be rude. Until 3 years later.